Hero still waiting for Trap versus Bunny, and Nightmare versus Gumiho has begun as well. But now we can focus on our own series. Now we can focus on our round of 16 match.
Indeed, we can. It is going to be a bit of a PvZ on our hands, kicking off on Ghost River, which is a surprising first map, to say the least. In the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left of Ghost River, we have our red Zerg player. Going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Daddy Dark.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player who just took down Ryung 2-1. It is Stats. But yeah, I could be mistaken, but I think have you actually casted Dark since he became a puppy? Has it happened?
I have not.
Ah, there you go. He's a dad now.
It's my fear of dads. Got in the way.
Oh, I see. I understand. Oh god, but yeah, Dark, of course, relatively recently, as of a month, 2 months ago at most, is now a father, is now a dad. Bappy, if you will.
Indeed. Yeah. Bappy, if you will. I believe the theory is that his kid is going to grow up to become Diva from Overwatch.
True, there you go. Confirmed. Yeah, it's I remember at the time, it really puts things into perspective, just how long StarCraft has been around, how long it's been in esports, and how yeah, players, a lot of these Korean players as well, a lot of them have already conducted their military service. They've come back from the military service, and you know, they're getting you know, now with a family, I should say, right? Like, it's Dark, Hero, and Sola that come to mind. They're all married. They all have partners, and Dark is the first of, I'm sure, many to now start a family of his own and have a kid.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a pretty cute announcement tweet that he put out as well, where it's like, yes, my spawning pool is now replenished or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was cute. It was very
like,
cute.
we have our little Zergling.
Do love to see it.
Like, spawning pool has been built. Something like that.
Yeah, definitely check out Dark social media if you want some updates on that. But yeah, it's really cool to see. But of course, Dark on that grind set is going to be competing as often as much as he can, at least until his military service does come around. And so far, going for a standard build.
Yeah. How does it work in Korea? Can you delay it further if you become a dad?
I don't think that's how it works. Unfortunately. But yeah, that's, I mean, at least, you know, it's happening early on, and it is going to be a shame that Dark is going to be a little bit preoccupied with military service, as his newborn, you know, is just now entering the world. But then he'll be back and be able to take care of the Zergling.
Yeah. Gotta research metabolic boost for it.
There you go.
Make sure that it has the speed.
Exactly, as we do have, again, a standard opener from Stats as well. We were talking about these standard openers. Dark does go for a very fast Roach Warren. This was around a 3-minute 30 Roach Warren timing very early on. You would not get it this early unless it was against a Blinkstalker based build or something like a Twilight Council opener. We can see this been standard play out of Stats, so Dark is going for some aggression, going for a push.
Which, you know, which makes sense. We are on Ghost River, so he might as well try to get something done here. Stats is getting a third base behind this. He is also focusing on his Oracle production, which is going to be absolutely key to defend, specifically against the Zerglings. But we'll see how they really fare against these Roaches coming his way.
Exactly. We have 5 Roaches in production. The Queen's already starting to walk across the map. Again, it's going to be a Roach Queen all in. You may be thinking, wait, there's no Dropper Lords with this. There's no Nidus all in. No. On Ghost River, you can just walk across the map. We catch the Oracles. Up.
And one of them will not quite go down. Whew. Such an important thing to keep alive now for Stats.
Yeah, it does barely survive. Back at home, we can set up some stasis rats. We can, of course, use the Pulsar Beam as well. Lings, they do get eyes on the Adepts. We're trying to transition into a Twilight Council to a Forge, but this third base is going to be going down. The question becomes, can Dark get more than just a third?
Well, he's gonna try to go for a wall, but it is a wall. So Dark decides not to go for any unnecessary risks. Might as well go for this third base, which is a lot more exposed. Not the greatest link count in the world, but of course, all they really need to do right now is buffer, keep the queens, and keep the Ravagers alive.
Yeah, the ideal would be if the army does overextend, that we can lock down the army and then bile down the Adepts as well, and just gets just the absolute value. And here we go for this round.
That's just a round we were talking about. No biles necessary, as yeah, it looks like there's enough. They were far away from the shield battery. Battery overcharge wasn't available to help. More reinforcing links are coming into position, and it looks like Stats has overextended just 1 foot too far.
And the wall is not a wall. We flood on into the natural base. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1.
Just like so. Very quick game on a very short map. Dark almost breaking 500 APM, by the way. That's how fast that game was.
Yeah, GG, well played again. Dark just throwing down that fast Roach one, committing into a Roach Link Queen all in. And unfortunately, Stats, it did take him a little bit too long to kind of piece together what was happening. On top of that, really late reactions. I mean, I say late reactions. The problem is that you have even less time to react on a map like Ghost River.
Yeah, the reaction was about the correct time. It's just that, you know, on Ghost River, you need to adjust for distance.
Yeah, exactly. It's that much more unforgiving, and just like that, Dark already with the lead in this series, and now we're getting into game number 2. We're going to be loading into Alcyone, a much larger map. This should be leading into a longer game, but we'll see if that's going to be the case. So I'm sure Stats wants a longer game. Dark, he wants to get this over and done with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he's got a newborn he has to take care of.
Yeah. Gotta feed the baby.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. And I mean, personally, I'm hoping for a longer series. I'm hoping for more back and forth. I don't think that we really got to sink our teeth into Stats too much that last game. Like, again, he can definitely take it to Dark. He has beaten Dark in the past, but he needs to get into the mid game. He needs to get into his game to make that happen.
Indeed, pretty consistently as well.
Yeah.
Back when Stats was at his peak, there was a little bit of a mini rivalry going on there, but regardless, we are gonna potentially reignite the rivalry here on Alcyone. We're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's of course going to be representing Talon Esports, and as Steel in the chat is saying, not just a new father, but potentially the Dark Vader.
The Dark Father. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. Can he bounce back in this series? He's down, but he's not out. Not yet. It is Stats.
I can absolutely visualize Dark saying, "I am your father," to his kid.
Oh god, he's gonna scar that poor child.
I can absolutely visualize that as well, because I remember I think it was last season of GSL, in the, the behind the scenes kind of stuff they do, the interviews, one of the questions they posed was, who do you think would be the best father? Who do you think would be the worst father? Dark got 0 votes for best father.
Oh my god.
And I think it was Solar or Creator who said that he would be a bad father.
Oh, we got some beef starting up. We got some beef, Pappy. Oh my god.
It was funny to me at the time.
Let's get our revenge. That's I think what's funny about that is I would not be surprised if they were fully aware that Dark was expecting, right? Like, I would not be surprised if that was that it was a little bit more tongue-in-cheek in that way, where they said that intentionally, just because he was about to be a father.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that, like,
Dark surprisingly didn't vote for himself.
Because I know that, like, the community, especially the international community, we, of course, weren't really aware that Dark was soon to be a father, but I'm pretty sure the Korean scene was a lot more in touch with that, and a lot more aware, especially the players.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine so. Dark, not really one to post a lot on social media, but in real life amongst the Koreans when he's actually talking to them, he's not really one who I can imagine keeps big things like this secret.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of the keeping things secrets, we'll see if Dark does go for another hidden tech structure early on, and if he gets away with it, or we'll see if he does have a different strategy here in store for us. We're already loading into Alcyone. This time we have not rushed into the gold base. Dark, it has not been uncommon for Dark to rush into this gold and go for an all-in, but he's taken a much more standard base instead.
Yeah, I mean, it can serve as a little bit of launchpad as our game continues, but he's saturating it. He is actually looking to mine from it, so I have to imagine we will be getting our longer game that we were hoping for.
I hope so. For now, we've reached the 3-minute 30 mark. By this point in the previous game, we would have already seen a Roach Warren. There is no Roach Warren yet, so we can see that Dark is happily droning, keeping up with the Adepts, and making sure that he's able to punish any kind of committed shade. Likewise, stats opening up Aura.
Yeah, nice and standard. Aura being very active with his first Oracle. Tanking quite a lot of hits. Not something we normally expect from Stats, who is kind of known for having precise control over his oracles.
Yeah, you saw there just a little bit of mismovement from Stats, took some extra hits, but he at least keeps the Oracle alive. We do have a second Oracle coming out as well, but there's only been one drone kill so far. We're looking for more economic damage.
Anything to slow Dark down gets a tumor, which is something. Not the first tumor though, so it's not going to result in an insta-GG.
Unfortunately not. As the Queens are a little bit out of position, we do manage to get in. 3 drones go down. Not a bad pickoff here from Stats. He will escape with his oracles. They get quite low, but they do manage to get away.
And surviving is all that matters, really. An Oracle can regain its shield. It's going to meet up with the third Oracle, and it can get something done when Stats eventually decides to jump back in.
Yeah, definitely. As we're taking additional gases, Lair is on the way. Fast Lair here from Dark Revelation is going to get eyes on this as well. So I'm sure Stats is going to be getting ready back at home. There's an Overlord in position, but I believe Dark should just be droning from here. What I'm interested by is that we have yet to throw down a Roach Warren. Right now, it's only Link production here. This could be for either Spire play or Hydra play.
Yeah, we're going to keep our eyes glued to that production tab. We're going to see if any more simulators do get thrown down. Lair this early on, like you said, is going to be either Hydra play or Spire play. And there's a Hydra then. There's +1 range. I was holding out a little bit of hope here, Light, that I was going to go into this whole thing where it's like, yeah, typically it would be Hydra Spire. But knowing Dark, it could also just be Lingbane into Ultra.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah, it's not going to be the case this time, though.
Not this time, but you're not wrong. Dark, he does like to do that, especially on larger maps like Alcyone as well. So I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that idea, especially coming into potentially a longer run. For now, though, we do have the Overseer scouted to the main, getting a full scout. We do get eyes on gateways, on the tech, the bay is on the way. So now Dark knows that Colossus are on the horizon.
Yeah, he gets a full scout, knows that he can't fully rely on just Lings and just Hydras as well. Dark, very quick to throw down the Lurker Den, very quick to throw down the Infestation Pit behind us as well. Sats playing very safe, but I think by now he's kind of realized, okay, there hasn't been any pressure applied on me. Dark hasn't tried to move out in the map yet. Something is going on, and I need to stop whatever it is that he's doing.
Exactly. Like, the problem right now for Stats is he is playing safe, and that means that Dark, he's getting away with teching, right? We're taking up so quickly here, not just into Hydras, but into Lurkers, into Hive Tech, into upgrades, into Vipers as well. There we go. The Hive is now in production as we speak. It is spotted by the Revelation, but this does mean that by the time Stats, if he waits for like a critical mass of Colossus, by then it will be too late.
Yeah, too late, too little. Too dead. Too leaked. I decided Dark anyway.
You had another one in you.
Too little, too late, too leaked.
Okay.
Too lemon.
Too dark.
Too dark.
There you go. As here we go. We do see Stats moving out with this first Colossus. I like this a lot more. As we mentioned, if he waited for like 2 or 3 Colossus, then it may just, you know, be too much time here for Dark to tech up and get into his army of choice. So we see Stats poking at least a little bit here. Temple Archives behind this is going to be for Storm, for Archon production as well. Second rover for double rover production, of course. But again, as Stats is getting into all of this tech, we are massing up more lurkers.
Yeah, Stats has been kind of active on the map with his Stalkers, clearing up a couple of creep tumors here and there, but eventually turned back around and hasn't really decided to keep going. Which I guess is the right call. You don't want to be in the middle of the map, leaving your Colossus and stuff exposed, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we see something like a Warp Prism pretty soon, and Stats continuing to harass with his Oracles and potentially with a couple of Zealots. Anything he can do, really, to try to apply some pressure on Dark.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll see if that's going to be the case. Dark, meanwhile, he has map control. He's spreading creep freely throughout the map. In most sections of the map, I should say. The lurker count is getting higher and higher. Nidus Worm is on the way. We do have vision in the main with this Overseer, by the way, so we can go for the Nidus into that main mineral line. Likewise, we are throwing out Changelings, trying to get vision here on every other base, if at all possible.
Yeah, Dark kind of pulling a bit of a Stats here, in that he is getting full vision on the map right now. Or full vision everywhere that's relevant.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the links here towards the right-hand side. We had links towards the left. They were cleaned up. We have the Changeling here in the center. And there's that Nidus Storm right into the main base. Thankfully, there is a cannon in position.
Yeah, cannon itself not going to be enough to clean this up, though, so we do see a quick little warp in of Stalkers. We'll be able to deal with that. We'll be able to clean out the Overseer as well. No more Niduses in the main base. Not for a while, anyway. Dark, he's fine with that, though. He's just happily expanding, getting a gold base, and yeah, teching up even harder.
Oh. Yeah, taking up into double Spire here. That's going to be for a greater Spire and eventually a Broodlord transition. Likewise, we have an Ultra Cavern as well. Dark is just throwing down every tech structure he could ever need in this game. With a double Spire as well, if Stats goes into Sky Toss, then he will have a response to it.
Yeah, the correct response as well. You have Spine Force here right outside the space. That's a lot of lurkers, and that's a tiny, tight choke point.
As Stats, he's aware, he sees the choke point, he backs the hell up. He cannot push into all these lurkers. He will retreat, and Dark he has held. Stats is maxed out, so is Dark. Unfortunately, Stats is maxed out with a ground-based army. Now, to be fair, if he can outposition Dark, this army can get a lot of damage done. But if Dark is able to keep up with these rotations, if he's able to keep up with his Viper movement as well, then Dark can pick this army apart.
If. Say Dark is maxed out, but surprisingly enough, he's actually stuck on 180 supply. He's not making Overlords.
Yeah, this is a really weird supply block here out of Dark. I just assumed he would have broken out of it by now, but no, he's still stuck here at 20 supply behind, which is pretty significant here. So hopefully Dark can make some Overlord soon, as he has not made an Overlord in quite some time. And here comes the Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, this supply block is actually giving Stats quite a lot of time. Dark now getting 9 Overlords, but I feel like Stats hasn't given enough breathing room. He's going to push into the space, has to retreat once all these lurkers burrow. So he has to retreat, but I guess not. Stats proving that you don't have to if you have good enough storms and positioning with your Colossus.
I mean, the storms, they've been pretty juicy. They've been pretty good here for Stats. He will pull back, reinforcing here on the front lines, trying to force the issue, but he is running out of storms. He does have to be careful here. Meanwhile, we do see no carrier production yet from Stats, just doubling down on Immortals, and he was able to successfully outposition Dark, but those spines are being rebuilt.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have a huge bank and not enough spare supply. Decent fungal on this High Templar, but it's not quite... There's really no units that can really take advantage of that fungal here.
Yeah,
clean that up.
There's no way to dive on this army. I mean, we do have a couple of spine shots going off here on the main force. Goal base goes down. Good pick off here by Stats. He is gaining ground, and he does reinforce with more Zealots, but the Vipers, they top to back up with energy. They're going for the Yoinks.
They do get yoinked, and they do get the fungal follow-up as well. They do get the double yoink. And now Stats no longer has any Colossus.
Yeah, no longer any Colossus. Now we barely have an army here. Dark, he can completely swallow this up. And Stats, what are we remaxing on?
Ooh.
Even going for the Neural, actually, on the Immortal. Okay.
Yeah, might as well. The Immortals are kind of the backbone, the foundation of Stats' army right now. Anything you can do to chip into that foundation is going to be beneficial to Dark. Stats, though, he did lose a lot of units, but he has been mining for quite some time. He is working on his transition now, getting a Mothership.
Yeah, Mothership is on the way. Still no Skytoss. He's ready for it, don't get us wrong, but he's still just doubling down on mass Immortal production. Speaking of, how many Immortals do we have? We have 8 Immortals with the main army. And fun fact, with enough Immortals, you can actually break through a line of Lurkers. Like, you can actually bust through this. Immortals can be very tanky. Up.
I'm loving this from Dark. It's making use of his opponent's oracles, throwing down the stasis ward, stats ward, if you will, and it will trigger 4 of these Colossus. Stats wasn't expecting that at all. Who does? Who would? In fairness, and that's actually huge. That's a huge chunk of Stats' army.
That is insane. 4 Immortals, they get caught in the stasis. Very nicely done here by Dark. And he does joink in another Immortal. We're waiting for those joinks. It looks like we go for the Neural. Instead, we catch another Immortal. Very nice use of the spellcasters here from Dark. Very nicely played.
Dark is just fishing at this point. He's throwing down his line. He's catching Protoss units. He's bringing them home and eating them. Frying them up with his Lurkers.
Oh yeah, exactly. He is hungry. He's hunting for those Immortals for whatever Protoss unit he can get his hands on. Lurkers repositioning. This base here towards the north should be going down, so good pick off here by Stats as he rotates around trying to find another way in. Carrier production has finally commenced, but remember, Dark, he's working on 2-2. He is ready to switch into Corruptors.
Indeed, he is 2-2 flyer weapons and Carapace. Now on the way for Dark. I do like that Stats is making use of his army's mobility. I don't think Dark has been able to, really been able to go beyond, let's see, 2, 4, 6 bases for quite some time, which in fairness, still a crazy amount of bases to have at this stage of the game. But Stats is doing whatever he can to prevent Dark from getting any larger.
He is, and now we can see Stats going for the central goal base as well. The pressure is soon going to be on Dark to deny some of these bases, instead going for a Nidus Worm, and Stats does not see this, by the way. He does not see the Nidus. This base towards the top left, it's going to be going down. As I say that, here comes Stats.
Yeah, it would go down if there were, if Dark had units to spare, which at the moment he doesn't. Good engagement by Dark, however. He is able to take out most of the high-tech units of Dark.
Very nicely done as well. Yeah, gonna be going for the Neural, wasting some of the energy here on the High Templar. Got a lot of chain fungals off as well. Stats has been taking a lot of damage. Nidus Swarm does complete. No Lurkers loaded in yet. Dark is ready to go for any kind of counterattack. It looks like Stats is gonna be shutting down this Nidus just in time.
Yeah, a bit of a distraction Nidus, if you will. Meanwhile, another great fungal coming down from Dark. Great positioning with his Lurkers as well. They have a huge surround on top of this Protoss army. The Mothership goes down, and there's really not much left of Sats' army.
Really good yoink there from Dark to be able to take down the Mothership with the Spores, by the way. He didn't even have any anti-air. It was just the Spores going ham on that Mothership, and Stats has been getting picked apart. Now, he still has a bank to work with, but he's burning it through that bank, trying to focus and rebuild here on carrier production. Meanwhile, Corruptors have not been made yet from Dark, but I'm sure he's just waiting for that moment to switch into them as he's actually moving out with a big lane bane counterattack.
Yeah, he's trying to bust through this fresh base. Got more than enough Banelings. Will they actually connect? They will.
Yeah, Baneling speed kicks in just in time. Zelts are going to be going down. We chase down the workers as well. This will be cleaned up, but regardless, a good trade here for Dark.
That takes out a full mineral line. Takes out a lot of these admittedly buffer units here that Sats has been producing. Just Zealots and Stalkers for the most part.
That's something to bear in mind, is what you just mentioned, is that I believe Stats hasn't lost any carriers this game. Like, he's been slowly building them up over the course of these last couple of minutes. We're up to 8 carriers. We have 2 more on the way, soon to be 10 carriers. That's a pretty hefty carrier count.
Yeah, eventually we're going to hit critical mass, and it's going to take more than just... It's going to take more than just Infestas and Yoinks to take them out. Dark hasn't built any Corruptus yet, I don't believe. No, he has a couple.
Yeah, he's got a handful. He's got 9 Corruptors, which is okay, but as you mentioned, there are more carriers than there are Corruptors, which is terrifying. Like, we have to double down on that production. Meanwhile, Dark, he gets eyes on the gold base, and he's going for the gold.
Yeah, going to be sieging directly under it. He doesn't quite have range to get on top of this Nexus, but he will clear out some of the static defense.
Does clear it out. At the same time, Stats going for his own push, does deny the northern base, and now we're pushing into the wall of Spores. Spores are going down. Lurkers are repositioning, but do we have enough anti-air?
Well, most of the Spore Crawls, they get taken out, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, there's only 3 Spores left. We're trying to rebuild as quickly as possible. More Corruptors are on the way, but Dark, he's maxed out. He doesn't have enough room for more Corruptors.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of some of his Lurkers. Whatever he can do to get rid of them just doesn't matter.
100% here. He's up to, I think, 19? Yeah, 19 Lurkers. It's good, but now that there's no ground army, or now that we're relying on a Skytos army instead, we need to throw away some of these Lurkers. They need to be thrown away. We need more Corruptors instead.
Yeah, if only you could devolve units.
True.
Turn back into Hydras.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Up.
See a recall with the mothership into a very fresh base here of Dark. Dark completely out of position to deal with this, so he's gonna have to give all of it up. Gonna re-maneuver down.
The base does full Corruptors rotate over. At the same time, Bailey's going for another big run here towards the south, going for the mineral line and Stats. We go for the site defense instead. It looks like we do get a couple of probes as well. Meanwhile, main army did not quite commit here, as it looks like we did recall towards the top left.
Yeah, recall somewhere.
Oh, they were there.
There we go.
Oh, the High Templar.
As we... Oof. It's 1 Templar. What did it do to deserve that? Stats?
It was left behind. Feels bad, man. Speaking of feels bad, man, oh, it looks like, okay, the defense is going to be left alone. We have a massive lurker counter here towards the top left. Remember, recall was just used. There is no recall available here for Stats, so the base is going to fall.
It is something that Dark absolutely needs to do. He needs to find some way to utilize his lurkers while he builds up a higher corruptor count back at home. 15 of them on the way. Dark actually has his main army bunched together. He's going for the mothership. Minus 250, minus 250. 350. It's something. Minus 300.
Yeah.
As Stats unable to recall, he's just going for it. He knows that he needs to counterattack. He needs to reciprocate this damage. Workers are going down left and right on both armies.
Yeah, it looks like 2 bases go down for Stats and Lurkers. They just keep on pushing. At the same time, the Corruptors, they've made it back home. Not just the Corruptors, they have the Infestors and the Vipers to support as well. So Dark, he's just trying to lure the army deeper and deeper into the bases. Meanwhile, the Lurkers, they're just not stopping.
Yeah, eventually you're going to get right on top of this production. Dark throwing down Nidus Worms as well, just in case he needs to escape. A lot of good storms, a lot of good feedbacks, but nowhere near enough of them. Looks like the Infestors will get dealt with, but too little, too late, too late, too loud, too large is Dark, as he completely demolishes the carrier count of Stats.
Yeah, he went for the massive power bombs here on the carriers. He stacked on top of the power bombs as well. All the interceptors went down, and so did the carriers. Dark just annihilating the army here of Stats, just coming in to shut down the reinforcements, and Stats, he cannot rebuild in time. Stats is a massive bank, but he needs time. He needs time to remax, to rebuild, and Dark, he's already in his face, knocking down more bases with ultras.
I love when Dark goes ultras, especially because he uses a classic skin.
He does, he does.
Yeah, they were looking for High Templar, but unfortunately there weren't a lot of High Templar to kill. Another minus 300, 300.
Yeah, another mothership
down.
goes It does go down. We get the Nidus Worm into the main base, but keeping the production, and these carriers, they're not going to see the light of day. They're going down one after the other, and we do see Stats desperately going for a base trade with what little he has on the ground.
Yeah, what little he has, whatever he can get done. I think he knows that Dark is also on the last legs of his economy. He doesn't have much of a bank, but unlike Stats, Dark still has a massive, massive army. I don't think he has a Greater Spire, though. Yeah, he doesn't.
No Greater
So a lot
Spire.
of his supplies and Corruptors that won't be able to do anything.
That is a lot of dead supply. A lot of dead supply here for Dark. He needs to throw these away. He's making use of them. Okay, he's going to be causing spraying down as many buildings as he can. Corruptors are going to be going down to the cannons, which is a good thing, by the way, to clear up supply for Ling Ultra. Speaking of, here come those Lings. We do catch some of the Stalkers.
Yeah, we'll force a little bit of recall here as well. Stats recalling back to that base. Both players on sub 20 worker count. Barely any mining. Zero gas mining, but at least both players do have very large gas banks.
Yeah, they do have large gas banks here. Dark burning through so many of his minerals, but Dark, he has an army. He is maxed out, or soon to be maxed out. Could do with re-droning, to be honest, as he is, again, just his economy is in shambles at the moment, and it's just such a shame that he made so many Corruptors. He has 36 Corruptors. That is an insane count, and he has limited uses here for them.
It's like when you have 30 medevacs as a Terran army. Except you have no bio units. That's how dead the supply is in carriers.
It is. As the Corruptors, they just go ham. They focus on the robots. They shut both of them down. We could have even gone for the main base as well, but alas, Dark is going to retreat. He bleeds out some more Corruptors, freeing up some more supply. Still no Greater Spire, but he's shutting down all these Stalkers. They do fall.
Yeah, Dark still has mining. Still has a little bit of mining that Sats doesn't have right now. So Dark can continue to produce Lings and eventually just send them in, trickle them in, and just bleed out Stats' forces. Slowly but surely.
And you can see Dark, he just made a wave of drones, so he's just trying to saturate, droning on up, trying to catch out some of these Stalkers as well. Lings, they collapse on top of the Immortals. It looks like we won't be able to trade too well here. A lot of Lings do go down, and I just would have loved to have seen a Greater Spire here from Dark. I mean, it does take a long time to produce, but like these Corruptors, they need to do something.
Yeah, they're doing something. They're flying.
Yeah, they're scouting.
They're scouting, yeah. They're in the air. They're providing morale boost.
They are. We're hunting down buildings.
Yeah.
And we will.
Now we are.
Yeah. Oh, we do force a recall here towards that natural base. Yeah, we force out the recall. Can we focus down the Robo? Good storms here from Stats, though. We will be able to shut down a lot of these Corruptors, but the Robo goes down.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when we say good storms from Stats, though, because good storms is exactly what Dark wants.
That's true.
He wants these Corruptors to stay in the storm and get taken out. Then he can replace them with Hydras, as he's doing right now.
Yeah, Hydras are on the way, more Lurkers are on the way as well. Stats, he's down to one base, and no mining. Fun fact, no minerals or gas. There's just nothing to make use of here. Zero economy for Stats.
Zero whatsoever. And yeah, Stats, gotta hand it to him. He's sticking in this.
Yeah, he's trying to
Just
recover.
not sure to what end.
I mean, to be fair, like, again, his ground army can still take it to Dark just because of how many Corruptors there are, but at the same time, we don't have any detection.
Yeah, Stats is hoping for a miracle, and there isn't one. All the Lurkers burrow. They will get right on top of this army. There's no more room for Stats to retreat to. That's going to be GG. Dark going to be taking game 2 and the series 2-0. GG. Nicely done. We went from a 5-minute game to a 27-minute game in this one series. Ooh, the versatility. 241 drones were created, by the way. That's
yeah, that's a lot of drones.
Insane. That's how many. Yeah, that's how many workers died throughout this game.
GG, well played. I mean, congratulations here to Dark, as he does take it in the end. GG, Dark does take it 2-0 over Stats. Very well done. We got to see a cheesy, aggressive game out of Dark in game 1, but here in game 2, we saw something a little bit more macro-oriented. Dark showing us that, again, he has the best of both worlds. He can take it in a short game or even a longer game as well.
Yeah, both extremes. Mid-game, you usually can also take it there. But we didn't get to see that in this series. Instead, we saw a very quick game number 1, a bit of a longer game number 2, one that, honestly, Dark was in control of pretty much the entire time. There were a lot of moments, especially after Stats realized that he was playing it out too safe, where he was able to get some hits in, he was able to damage Dark's bases, his economy, and at some points even go toe-to-toe with him, army v army, but yeah, for the most part, that was Dark's game. He tricked Stats into playing overly safe after game number 1 and made full use of that by just rushing into Hive, into Lurkers.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah, with that, Dark advances on into the quarterfinals, and we need to take a moment here to have a look at the bracket itself to get a read on where exactly we are on what is coming up next.